We'll start with the end of Uzziah, because we started with him, or we ended on him last week. What he does in his kingdom is he defeats Joash, king of Israel. That'll be in 2 Kings 14, verse 8. 2 Kings 14, verse 8.
He defeats him, or he's defeated by him?
He's defeated by Joash, king of Israel. This is bad news. The North is going to beat the South. That's never right, especially in America. No. right. 2 Kings 14, verse 8. Then Amaziah sent messengers to Joash, the son of Jehoahaz, son of Jehu, king of Israel, saying, "Come, let us look one another in the face." Now, that just sounds like it's not a fashion show or anything. What he's saying there is, let's get it on. We're going to have a fight. And that was a bad challenge to make. Look down at verse 9. Then Joash the king of Israel sent to Amaziah, king of Judah, saying, "The thistle that was in Lebanon sent to the cedar that was in Lebanon, saying, Give thy daughter to my son to wife. And there passed by a wicked beast that was of Lebanon and trode down the thistle." So he's giving him a parable to say, here's what's going to happen if you want to mess with me. 2 Kings, I got to find my spot. 2 Kings, where am I? 14, verse 10. 2 Kings 14, 10. That's the wrong chapter. Yeah, I know it. "Thou hast indeed smitten Edom, and thine heart hath lifted thee up." That's the common denominator. Pride does a number on us. Second, we start making inroads in one area of life. It just seems typical that we always start to think, okay, I got this thing whipped. That's when trouble strikes. "Glory of this, and tarry at home." He said, just take it easy and enjoy the one thing that you've already conquered. Don't go pick a battle with somebody else. Enjoy the victory. "For why should thou meddle to thy hurt, that thou shouldest fall, even thou, and Judah with thee?" And that's exactly what they do. They fall. He's killed in a conspiracy by Laish. That'll be 2 Kings 14, verse 19. 2 Kings 14, verse 19. "Now they made a conspiracy against him in Jerusalem, and he fled to Lachish. But they sent after him to Lachish and slew him there." Okay, so nobody's happy with this guy. He's going down. If the enemy's not going to kill him, we're going to. Verse 20. "And they brought him on horse, and he was buried at Jerusalem with his fathers in the city of David." Okay, well, at least he gets to be with the big wigs in death, because his life sure didn't lead it very good. Then the closing remarks that's made on this guy, look at chapter 14, verse 17. "And Amaziah the son of Joash, king of Judah, lived after the death of Jehoahaz, son of Jehoahaz, king of Israel, 15 years. And the rest of the acts of Amaziah, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah?" No great statement made. I mean, we'd like to hear, and he built this city, and he's known for that tower, and nope, just go look it up. If you're really interested in him, go look him up. Right, yeah. Google it. In the South, Uzziah takes his place. Now, Uzziah is going to be spelled two different ways. Uzziah or Azariah, Azriah. Now, this guy's going to reign for 52 years, so we get a long reign from him. He begins in 792 to 740 BC, according to the bigwigs that think they know what they're talking about. I wasn't there, I don't know. That's what they're claiming. Uzziah becomes king at 16 years old. Now, of course, he's not ruling by himself at 16. He's got advisors, and he has men that are helping him and guiding him. And you see, that's a common thing. When these young kings get on the throne, they're not just, now they have a lot of power, but they're not running the show by themselves. They're taking advice, and they've been steered in a certain direction to go. That'll be in 2 Kings 14, verse 21. 2 Kings 14:21. He becomes king at 16 years old as a co-regent. In 2 Kings 14:21 it says, "And all the people of Judah took Azariah," is how they're saying it here, "which was 16 years old, and made him king instead of his father Amaziah." 16-year-old. Well, he's got to have a lot of wisdom, doesn't he? You'd want your ruler to have a little more wisdom than a 16-year-old kid, I would hope. Although we've had some that didn't have much more sense than a 16-year-old. Actually, the ones who are running our country, the Congress and the Senate, they've got about a 16-year-old mentality.
And what's left of them, they haven't been hauled off the floor.
Yeah, yep.
And they have the deep pockets that they love to have.
Yep. In 2 Chronicles 26:1 tells you basically the same thing. Says that he was 16 years old. He took the throne from his father, or in the place of his father. What he does is a smart thing. Now, of course, this is because he's being advised. What he does is he restores the city that's been taken from them, and he starts building up his army. He starts building up the nation, which is smart. That'll be in 2 Kings 14:22. He built Elath and restored it to Judah. After that, the king slept with his fathers. So after his dad died, he said, "I'm going to go get something that belongs to us that we've not gotten." That's good. That's a good move. Now, it's aggressive, but that's a good move. It says the same thing in 2 Chronicles 26:2. Meanwhile, up north in Judah, Zachariah comes to the throne. Zachariah. These names, I got to make sure I say them right. I went all last lesson saying the wrong name. Zachariah, there's his basic rule, is from 753 to 752 BC. He's the son of Jeroboam II, and he begins to reign in the 38th year of Uzziah. That'll be in 2 Kings 15, verse 8. 2 Kings 15:8. It says, "In the 38th year of Azariah, king of Judah, did Zachariah, the son of Jeroboam, reign over Israel in Samaria." He's got a long reign. Look at that. 6 months. He's a short timer. You find these short timers in the northern kingdom, Israel, are because they're just wicked. Wickedness earns attention from God in the wrong way. And God is attentive to people. He knows what we're doing, and he's correcting all the time. Now, the great thing about God is he's merciful, and he's patient, and he's tender. He says he has tender mercy. So when he corrects you, he doesn't start off with a harsh correction. He starts off with a soft one. And if you won't listen to that one, and you get hard-hearted, the correction has to get harder because he thinks you don't hear him. And we do the same thing. If you're trying to get somebody's attention and they don't hear you, you're going to talk louder and louder and louder. Well, that's what he does with correction. Well, this guy was so dull of hearing that he only lasted 6 months. 2 Kings 15, verse 9, he does what most of them do up there, evil. 2 Kings 15:9. "And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, as his fathers had done. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin." This is going to be the common clause that you're going to see. If they follow the sins of Jeroboam, the thing that made Jeroboam so wicked was he caused the whole nation to sin by worshiping falsely. Now, that's a biggie. He's not only gone against God himself, but now he's infected the whole nation. You find that with very few exceptions, a wicked ruler produces a wicked nation. If the ruler is wicked, the people follow. People follow their leadership. If the leadership's wicked, now there are some exceptions, but they're very few. By and large, we'll see the northern kingdom is wicked because their ruler is. Okay, next we'll see Uzziah. He begins to reign in the 27th year of Jeroboam II. Jeroboam II. That's not his real name. We call him number 2 because we don't want to confuse him with number 1. 2 Kings 15, verse 1. 2 Kings 15, 1. In the 27th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, began Azariah, son of Amaziah, king of Judah, to reign. 16 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 52 years in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Jecholiah of Jerusalem. Where did they get these names? When you're looking for a child's name, don't go back to the 2 Kings and 2 Chronicles and look for a name. Save your kid some trouble.
No, that'll make a nice, pastor.
Right, there you go. If you could just remember how to spell it. And the next thing he does is he does right, almost. He does right to a point. He doesn't remove the high places. If he would have just gone a little step further and gotten rid of those high places, we would have had a different story about this man. But he didn't. We do the same things in life. We'll do so many things right, and then we'll just wear out, or we just say, I've done so much right, why go the next step? But the next step's important. We've got to sell out 100%. This is what you see with these kings. The good ones, by and large, are good to a certain point, and then they just give up. And that's most of us. That's 2 Kings 15, verse 3 and 4. It says, and he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, according to all that his father's Amaziah had done, save, that's except for, the high places were not removed. The people sacrificed and burnt incense still in the high places. You find the same thing in 2 Chronicles 26:4, pretty much basically the same wording. He seeks God in Zachariah's days. 2 Chronicles chapter 26, verse 5. 2 Chronicles 26:5. This is a good thing. So a man can do right, can be seeking God, and still have something they're struggling with. That's what this guy does. He's seeking God, and he's doing much better than they are up north. And he's doing much better than the kings that have come before him. However, the high places are still there. He's not taking those down, and he should. However, he's seeking God. 2 Chronicles 26:5. And he sought God in the days of Zachariah, who had understanding in the visions of God. And as long as he sought the Lord, God made him prosper, made him to prosper. Okay, that's something they didn't learn up north. They just keep doing wicked and keep getting conspired against and assassinated and taken off the throne. And, you know, they reign a month, 7 days, 6 weeks. And they get, well, it's because they've been doing evil. Look, this guy figured it out, and he's only 16 years old. When I seek God and I do what's right, I prosper. Even though he didn't seek him with all his heart, he left the high places there. Well, God's going to talk to him about them. Let's go up north, the northern kingdom. Zachariah, he is slain by Shallum. Now, this ends the 4th generation of Jehu. Remember, God told him, you're going to get sons to stand or to sit on your throne for 4 generations. After that, you're done. So now it's going to be done. 2 Kings 15, verse 10. 2 Kings 15:10. 2 Kings 15:10. It says, and Shallum, the son of Jabesh, conspired against him, and smote him before the people, and slew him. I guess he wasn't dead when he smote him, and then he slew him, and that did it. And reigned in his stead. He smote him and slew him. You find that all through the Bible. If they would just defeat their problems the same way. We don't do that ourselves. We'll see a problem and we'll conquer it once, but then we don't just destroy it. So we got to fight it again. They understood this. If you want to kill something dead, you don't want the Hollywood monster to keep coming back at you. You empty the gun, smote it and slew it. He got smote and slew. So he's dead. Now, He's being replaced. You're going to see this snowball keeps going. This conspiracy is going to keep happening one after the next in the north. They're going to fight and take the throne by force. Nobody's safe. The throne was probably the worst place to be for safety in the northern kingdom. You find the same thing in 2 Kings 15:12. 2 Kings 15:12, I'll read it to you. This was the word of the Lord, which he spake unto Jehu, saying, Thy sons shall sit on the throne of Israel unto the 4th generation. And so it came to pass. Okay, that's the end of his dynasty. It lasted 4 generations, which is a lot longer than a lot of them. But it could have lasted longer. The closing remarks on this guy are 2 Kings 15, verse 11. And the rest of the acts of Zachariah, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel. Okay, they're just written there. Go look them up. Same thing. We're not real impressed. Yeah. I know. He barely sat down and he got taken off. In the southern kingdom, we've still got Uzziah. He prospers in war. That's a good thing. Remember, he's been seeking the Lord and found out, when I seek the Lord, I prosper. Well, now he's prospering in war. Christian life is the same way. We can seek God in peace and he'll prosper us, but you won't be able to stay in prosperity with peace. He's going to set up some warfare because he wants us to be in the battle, period. If you don't see one immediately, start preparing. It's coming. 2 Chronicles 26, verse 6. Here are the things he did. Now, he's got quite a legacy here. 2 Chronicles 26, verse 6. And he went forth and warred against the Philistines and brake down the wall of Gath. Okay, we know about Gath. That's where Goliath was from. And the wall of Jabehin. And the wall of Ashdod. And built cities about Ashdod among the Philistines. And God helped him against the Philistines and against the Arabians that dwelt in Gerbal and the Menahems. Verse 8, and the Amorites gave gifts to Uzziah, and his name spread abroad even to the entering in of Egypt. He's popular. He's in all the newspapers. His fame has spread. Now, you know the countries of the Philistines, they're all in a little triangle shape right here. Egypt is way down here, and they knew about him. Well, some messengers have made it back there. Some family members found out something, but his fame is spreading. You got to watch out when your fame spreads. Remember, it was the Lord who helped him. It wasn't him. And he starts making money on this deal. His enemies start giving him gifts. Well, if he's knocking everybody out and taking them down, that's probably a smart thing to do. Hey, I'll pay you off. Verse 10. Also he built towers, so forth, so on. You start seeing all that. He's a husbandry. He does vineyards, and he says he loves husbandry. Verse 12. He builds up the army. Good thing to do. Builds up the army. The whole number of the chief of the fathers of the mighty men of valor were 2,600. Those are the generals. That's how many generals he had. The next verse tells you about the regular foot soldiers, verse 13. And under their hand was an army, 300,000 and 7,500 that made war with mighty power. Okay, so he's becoming something here. Verse 15. And he made in Jerusalem engines. Okay, now you're going to find an invention here. This is a neat thing. He said, I've built up the army. I've done everything I can do. What else could I do? This reminds me of an American. That's the way we think. We think, okay, that's a great thing. How can I improve it? What changes could I make to make that better? And here's what he's going to do. Invented by cunning men to be on the towers upon the bulwarks, to shoot arrows and great stones withal. So I don't know if that's a catapult or something that's shooting multiple arrows, a Gatlin bow and arrow. But that's what he's doing, and that's going to help him. He was marvelously helped till he was strong. Now, it's too bad that till is in there, till he was strong. That till kind of indicates something's going to happen, and it will. He does something very bad. Remember, those high places are still out there? Not only the high places, but you can't worship in a high place because you start getting the mindset of that high place. Then you go into the real place with the wrong mindset, and God doesn't play. 2 Kings 15, verse 4. It says, "Save that the high places were not removed, the people sacrificed and burned incense still on the high places. And the Lord smote the king so that he was a leper unto the day of his death, and dwelt in a several house. And Jotham, the king's son, was over the house, judging the people of the land." There's a co-regent thing. So obviously he's burnt incense in the place where he's not supposed to do it, either in the temple of the Lord or burning incense in a pagan temple. Either way, God said, I'm done with this. Here's some leprosy. Enjoy that. Now, leprosy, according to the Old Testament, they had to go outside the city limits. And they had to say, unclean, unclean, everybody stay away. So here the king, the ruler, has to be in. Now, they gave him a nice house, I guess, but it's a separate house, a several house. A separate house away from everybody else, and then his son has to come in and take over for him. You'll find the same thing in 2 Chronicles 16:14, no new details there. Meanwhile, in the northern kingdom, Israel, Shallum comes to the throne after 6-month wonder has left. Shallum has taken the throne, and he's going to be a 1-month wonder. They're just not having good luck up there. He reigns in 752 BC. He begins in the 39th year of Uzziah. That'll be 2 Kings 15, verse 13. Shallum, the son of Jabesh, began to reign in the 9 and 30th year of Uzziah, king of Judah, and he reigned a full month in Samaria. Well, at least he got the full month. Not a partial month. He got a full month. Right. Yeah, they're not going the right direction. Meanwhile, he got the throne by a conspiracy. Guess how his predecessor or his prodigy is going to get the throne? By a conspiracy. He's slain. Yeah. 2 Kings 15:14. For Mahanaim, the son of Gadai, went up to Tirzah and came to Samaria and smote Shallum, the son of Jabesh, in Samaria, and slew him, and reigned in his stead. A lot of smiting and smooing. Whatever the past tense of slewing is. Right. The closing remarks on his life are verse 15. And the rest of the acts of Shallum and his conspiracy. Okay, so that's the one word that differentiates his rule, conspiracy. Which he made, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel. The north is nothing but a conspiracy. It's just one after the other, trying to manipulate things and turn circumstances to what they think is going to be their favor, but when they get in the hot seat, they realize it's a lot hotter than they thought it was. They're not ready for it. Uzziah is going to finally be done with. Leprosy is going to get a hold of him and take him out. In 2 Kings 15, verse 6. And the rest of the acts of Azariah and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Judah? So Azariah slept with his fathers, and they buried him with his fathers in the city of David. And Jotham, his son, reigned in his stead. Okay, so Israel's dynasty is moving forward, and the children are all descendants one of the other. That's a good thing. It would just be better if they had had blessing of God the whole way through, like David did. His closing remarks you can also find in 2 Chronicles 26, 22 to 23. No new details there. Meanwhile, in the north, we've gone from 2 conspiracies, now we've got a third. Mahanaim, he's going to rule for 10 years. Oh boy, well, he's just ancient on the throne now. He secures his kingdom. That'll be 2 Kings 15:16. Then Mahanaim smote Tipsha and all that were therein, and the coast thereof from Tirzah, because they opened not to him, therefore he smote it. And all the women therein that were with child he ripped up. Nice man. He said, I want to come to town over there. And they said, no, keep that gate shut. That guy's an idiot. He said, you can't keep that gate shut when I want to come in. And he busted it down. Then he said, to pay you back, get all the pregnant women. We're going to rip them up. And that's what they do. And they kill all the babies. Now you'll find that's a satanic thing, and it goes all the way through the Bible, and it's going to happen again in the tribulation. That'll be in, I believe it's Revelation 13 or 14. But what happens is they try to destroy the babies. Pharaoh did it in Egypt. Let's destroy all the male babies. What happens with Herod? He says, let's destroy the babies. It's always destroying. That's the devil. That's a sign something satanic. So what do they do in America? You can have abortion. We'll help you destroy your own baby. Okay, it's satanic. There's nothing right about it. He begins his reign in the 39th year of Uzziah. That's 2 Kings 15:17. In the 9th and 30th year of Azariah, king of Judah, began Mahanaim, the son of Gideai, to reign over Israel, and reigned 10 years in Samaria. What's he going to do? He's going to do what they all do. Evil. Look at it. Chapter 15, verse 18. 2 Kings 15:18. I know, you'd think he got 10 years, maybe he did something good. Nope. 2 Kings 15:18. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not all his days from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, that made Israel to sin. There's that same sin that keeps haunting them. They can't figure out this religion thing. Well, we better get it right. Muslims don't have it right. They live in nothing but constant warfare. And they don't wake up and say, hey, maybe God's mad at us and doing something here. They can't agree with each other. If they're not having war with another country, they're having war with themselves. They got about 10 different denominations of Muslim, and they kill each other. Meantime, in Israel, up north, this 10-year reigning king, Pul, king of Assyria, invades Israel. And Mahanaim does something. He pays him off, pays him tribute. Well, that kept peace, but I'm sure the people didn't like it. The king's not going to really dig deep in his pockets to pay the man. It's going to come from Joe on the street. 2 Kings 15:19. And Pul, the king of Assyria, came against the land, and Mahanaim gave Pul 1,000 talents of silver, that his hand might be with him, to confirm the kingdom in his hand. And Mahanaim exacted the money of Israel, even all of the mighty men of wealth. So what's he doing? The standard thing that goes on in America. Let's tax the rich. It'll buy us peace. No, it didn't. Of each man 50 shekels of silver to give to the king of Assyria, so that the king of Syria turned back and stayed not there in the land. Okay, it seemed like it worked for a little while, but we're going to see as things progress it doesn't. Closing remarks on his life are in verse 21 and 22, 2 Kings 15:21 and 22. And the rest of the acts of Mahanaim and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Mahanaim slept with his fathers, and Pekahiah, his son, reigned in his stead. There's a good name for your next son, Pekahiah. Pekahiah is going to reign for 2 years. He doesn't get a long time to sit on the throne either. He reigns approximately 742 to 740 BC. He's the son of Manahem. He begins to reign in the 50th year of Uzziah. 2 Kings 15:23. In the 50th year of Uzziah, king of Judah, Pekahiah, the son of Manahem, began to reign over Israel in Samaria and reigned 2 years. Well, I wonder what he's going to do. He's been looking around seeing how things fall out. You can't do the same thing over and over and expect a different result, but he does. Because look, he does evil. Verse 24. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam. Same thing, who made Israel to sin. Well, guess what he gets? The same thing all these kings just about all of them are killed by somebody. So this one's going to get killed too. He's slain by Pekah. However you say that. Kaya. I don't know if the P is silent or not. P-K-A-H. His captain.
You missed an E in there, honey. Pika.
Is there an E in it? Yeah. P-E-K-A-H. P-E-K-H. Pekah, the son of Remaliah. That's 2 Kings 15, verse 25. But Pekah, the son of Remaliah, a captain of his, conspired against him and smote him in Samaria in the high places of the king's house with Argob and Ariah, and with him 50 men of the Gileadites, and he killed him and reigned in his room. Now you'll find this is going to start opening up the book of Isaiah to you. You'll find information in Isaiah about Remaliah. Just notice it the next time you go through there. And you start seeing all of these pieces start coming together in a minute. And the farther we get into these kings, the more of the Isaiah and Jeremiah and Lamentations, those books are going to come into play. Verse 26, and the rest of the acts of Pekahiah and all that he did, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel. Okay, so nothing really to write home about. He's just written there. He's doing all the same thing they all do. Gets the throne by violence. What you notice most of all when you're reading through these kings is the sheer violence. It is violent, both in the north and the south. People gravitate toward violence. That's why in the Colosseums they used to burn Christians. That was pastime. That was the video game. Let's go out and burn some Christians. Let's see if they can beat the lion or if the lion will beat them. Wickedness. Why? It's satanic. In Genesis 6, you find that when the sons of God, that's the evil beings that were around with Lucifer when he rebelled, when those things come to earth, the Bible says the world or the earth was filled with violence through them. Violence comes through the devil. You don't think it up on your own. So that'll be our lesson for tonight.